Hello, and welcome to Come Play With Us, a spooky storytelling podcast. My name is Leela, and I'm joined by my evil twin,
Ruby. We're actually both the evil twin. We're both writers with non-writer day jobs. We believe in the power of great storytelling, so we've invited guests with the challenge of weaving a tale about real-life hauntings and paranormal activities with the sole purpose of scaring the shit out of us.
We'll rate them to see how they've done. Our ratings go a little something like this: scared shitless, some chills, and I think I'll be able to sleep tonight. Hi everyone, welcome back. We have a special returning guest who creeped us out many months ago, but we are welcoming back Adam. Hi Adam.
Hi guys.
Hi, I'm so happy to have you. And do you want to tell us what the title of your story is and why you chose it?
Sure. So I'll be sharing with you the story of the very, very troubled production behind the 1976 film The Omen.
Ooh, we love movies.
And we love scary movies, and that's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can jump in if you guys are ready.
Yes.
All right. So there's numerous, as you know, stories about mysteries and tragedies in the history of Hollywood. You know, you have the shooting of Brandon Lee, the drowning of Natalie Wood, and these tales, they're told, they're retold until they grow into legend. But really few productions seem to invite misfortune as much as The Omen. It's a 1976 horror movie directed by Richard Donner, starring Gregory Peck. A brief synopsis: it's the story. It's an American ambassador, Robert Thorne, living in Rome with his wife, Catherine. After being told that their son died shortly after being born, Gregory Peck is convinced to adopt another child whose mother just died in childbirth, and they name the boy Damien. I won't go into the plot beat by beat, but it turns out to be a plot to have them raise what may well be the Antichrist. So strange things stood out about the production from the very beginning. The script had been floating around Hollywood for years, but no studio would pick it up. Some said it was too extreme, off-putting, too sensational. It was originally called The Antichrist, later The Birthmark, and finally they landed on the more palatable The Omen. So for the role of Damien, the little boy who turns out to be the Antichrist, Richard Donner auditioned around 500 boys, asking each one to attack him as the character would attack his mother in one scene of the film. And little boys, you know, it's acting isn't so much acting as having them react in a certain way. So they found this one boy named Harvey Stevens, and he ended up being chosen because of how savagely he attacked Richard Donner, screaming, clawing at his face, punching him, kicking him in the groin, biting at him, tearing at him. The boy's nanny also came in with, it was written as a very warm caregiver, but who was, the actress was chosen when she was reinterpreted her as cold, strict, menacing. So it was kind of strange, just the way they found actors. Gregory Peck even, not his type of movie. He, in fact, was Roman Catholic, had earlier in life considered becoming a priest. He had memorized the entire Latin Mass, so to have him start a movie like this was out of character. He said he signed on because it felt more like a psychological thriller than a straight horror film. So he thought there's really some meat on the bones of the story.
This was a book too, right, Adam? Am I correct in thinking that it's a book?
I think it is inspired by a couple of books. I believe it was an original screenplay.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, yes, it is.
Now you're okay. It's just because of The Exorcist being a book, I thought that there was maybe a wave of, horror book to film adaptations back then, because it is a strange one for Gregory Peck to have done. Anyway.
And for that time period too. But also, I don't know if you've seen this, Adam, but there is a prequel movie that came out not too long ago called The First Omen.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yes, I've seen The Omen. I didn't see that one yet. but it's on my list.
I think it retcons a little bit of it,
It
but I'm not so
does.
sure because it's been a while
Yeah.
since I've seen the Omen.
You would
But-
nearly want to
But it's good though.
pretend like it's a different movie. Like you would nearly want
Yeah.
to just separate from the actual Omen, because if you really sit and try to connect the two of them, you're like, there's too many plot holes. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
There,
But
and I think,
it's good. It's a solid movie
it's,
though. The
it's
First
good.
Omen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there have even been a couple of sequels. I think one of them starred
Mhm.
Christopher Walken as the grown-up Damien.
Really? Holy shit. Okay.
Okay, I'd watch that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so now we'll get into some of the more troubling things about it. So in 1975, this is 2 months before they were set to film, Gregory Peck's eldest son, Jonathan, who was 30 at the time, died of a gunshot wound to the head in what was ruled as suicide. Peck, until the end of his life, always said it was the worst thing that ever happened to him,
Oh my
and that
God.
he really channeled his grief and the guilt at not being there for his son into this performance of a tormented father. So that is already not setting the stage so great. And once filming began, things only continued to go wrong. There was a scene where Gregory Peck's character and a reporter are investigating the origins of Damien after they've become suspicious, and the reporter is beheaded in a car crash, implied to have been caused by the child.
Mhm.
The next year after they filmed, the special effects supervisor, John Richardson, who had designed, among other things, the body in that scene, was in a car crash with his girlfriend, who was also a sculptor and set designer, when they were driving through the Netherlands. Richardson survived, but Liz Moore was beheaded in a very similar manner as happened in the movie. And as cruel coincidence would have it, this happened 66.6 kilometers from a town named Omen.
Stop. I actually physically got chills. Holy shit. Oh,
It's
it's called Omen? Omen?
2 M's in that one.
Okay, well, they were kind of like,
And that's in the Netherlands.
the devil
yeah.
was like close enough. Holy shit.
So this is just kind of a sort of connected list of things that had gone awry. So there was... The plot is that, they're in Rome in the beginning, and then they move to London because he's an ambassador.
Mhm.
And so the crew had chartered a small plane to get some aerial shots of London. And then come the day of, they found the plane was double booked from the chartering company, and they gave it to the other people. Immediately after takeoff, the plane flew into a flock of birds and crashed into a car, killing everyone involved, everyone on the plane, everyone in the car. So, crisis averted for them, but not other people. There's a set piece where they go to a zoo, Catherine and Damien, the mother and son, and it went out of control when a group of baboons was driven to be too aggressive, making the actress actually fear for her life, which is a little bit scarring for her. And the day after that scene was shot, the animal trainer who organized the attack was killed by a lion there. In a scene where Gregory Peck was attacked by Rottweilers, the dogs inexplicably attacked the stuntman with such ferocity they tore his equipment apart, came close to maiming him too. So animals did apparently not like the shoot so much. The shoot was plagued by just a number of small accidents as well. Gregory Peck almost cut off a man's finger by closing it in a car door. Members of the crew were staying at the Hilton Hotel in London when it was blown up by the Irish Republican Army, though fortunately they weren't there at the time. And a few days later, the crew members, Gregory Peck among them, was on their way to a restaurant in London that was bombed by the IRA minutes before they got there.
Okay, that was not the devil. That was because of the troubles. But
It's
anyway,
bad timing and
It's
for
bad
certain
timing.
misfortune.
The troubles should have just like the devil is doing stuff. Like, do we really want to add to this?
On the way to the shoot for London, Gregory Peck's plane was hit by a bolt of lightning. A couple of weeks later, the film's executive producer was on a flight that was hit by lightning as well. Shortly after that, the screenwriter was flying to the set when his plane was also struck by lightning. And then the little cherry on top, during the film's premiere in Rome, a 400-year-old cross on a nearby church was hit by lightning on the night of the premiere.
Oh my God.
So it's like a warning.
But nature
Yes,
is really
maybe.
just like turning the tide against this film and the troubles
Maybe.
and the IRA.
The sun just like came out and like glowing on my face while we're talking about evil things.
So there's a story early from the film's conception that one of the producers had warned another, He said, "If you make this movie, you're going to have some problems. If the devil's greatest single weapon is to be invisible, and you're going to do something which is going to take away his invisibility to millions of people, he's not going to want that to happen." So at the time you read this, that sounds like it must have sounded very overdramatic. But after the troubled production, one really can't help but wonder if there was some wisdom in it.
Were they, during all of this stuff that was going on, like, were they all putting the pieces together? Like, hey guys, we think our production is haunted. Or were they, is it something that's more like later on, like now is when people look back and are talking about it? Like, were they aware of it and like scared of it while it was going on? That's what I'm curious
I
about.
didn't get the sense. So the thing about something like this in film is it's really very much an oral history, basically, because it's all the different people telling their different stories. And so I tried to, any of my facts, I tried to back up by finding a second source, either an interview or an article, an obituary, unfortunately, in a lot of cases. But so, yeah, I think mostly it was all bits and pieces. I didn't get the sense that at the time people said, "What the hell is going on? This is not right."
Yeah. I think it's worth going into some of the plot. Ruby, have you seen The Omen?
It's been a while since I have.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's as Adam said, it's this ambassador and his wife are having a kid, and the kid dies, and he doesn't have the heart to tell her that their kid died. So it's like, well, here's a baby that needs, and he's human looking. But this was like pre The Ring, where this is where horror movies had a journalist help them do research, and so when they get to Rome, that you find out that his actual mother was a jackal. They go to this graveyard, and it's like the bones of a jackal, and it's just like really this horrific scene. And it's basically it's this conspiracy, like the convent or whatever isn't really a convent. And you think that it's
devil worshippers.
Yeah, and so they purposefully, when this baby was born, gave it to a family, but also purposefully a family of someone in politics because of power. And so yeah, like he's basically like the devil,
the Antichrist.
Yeah,
no,
like
he's the Antichrist, and so he's supposed to grow up and do Antichrist stuff.
Yeah,
but isn't that also the devil?
No.
Oh, I thought it was in the physical embodiment of the devil.
I don't know.
It's something like the son of the devil, kind of like
it's the son of
Christ is the son of God kind of thing.
And the
he's
mother
like,
is a jackal.
Supposed to bring upon some really gnarly stuff.
And they're supposed to like have like a 7-year battle or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think in the later, I think in the Christopher Walken grown up Damien, he's running for president. Right, so it was like the whole point was to like give him to a family where he could rise in ranks power wise and become a leader of some sort, so he could do Antichrist stuff. But
if you've read or seen Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, that's like kind of a humorous take on this.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Where there's like it gets switched up so that instead of going to like a senator, he goes to like a civil servant in the English countryside.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's fun. I might check that out. Paul and I are looking for a new TV show to watch.
I feel like I had seen promos and stuff for it for a while. Did it have like just a couple seasons?
Yeah, it's like 2 seasons, 3 or 4 years apart. And unfortunately, with Neil Gaiman, I think everything has been put on pause in his production.
They ended it with like a 90-minute episode, with one 90-minute episode instead of a full third season.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason I bring up the plot is because there is a lot of like, the plot is creepy, and there's a lot of like, creepy strategic things happening from this like church that's not really a church, and this whole investigation. But man, the whole thing about like nature revolting against this movie and the actors, like the animals and the Rottweiler, the baboons, the lightning strikes. Like, holy crap! It's. I love hearing about that stuff. Like,
I like hearing
about really
like
adds the lore. Yeah,
I like hearing about like cursed productions or cursed voyages or doomed voyages, which probably makes me really dark. But
something that sticks out to me a little bit about it is that you'll hear like there's so many movies that they just didn't used to have safety regulations. So, accidents just used to happen a lot more. But most of the stuff that happened here was just, if you're going to shoot with wild animals, you can't control how they'll act, or it was literally just an act of nature that was not something that they could have foreseen.
Yeah, and I don't even know if they had animal cruelty things back then.
Mm.
I don't
I
think
think
they
that feels
did.
like that's something relatively new,
Yeah,
but like nothing seemed like it was buttoned
like
up
regulated.
or regulated. Yeah, and it's interesting
So
too because I feel like there's other horror movies. Like I know, I feel like Poltergeist that has a curse as well, where like the little girl in it died and
Mm.
the teen in it was like killed by her boyfriend. I don't know. It's like really sad, tragic things that have happened, but there's weird paranormal stuff happening on the set. And Ruby and I always talk about it where, and then sometimes when we record this podcast and we're talking about these creepy, dark things, some weird technological shit happens. And I think that when you're like really in it and you're in the midst of a production of a movie with really dark themes, about like evil and things like that. And I guess nature versus nurture, because I mean he's evil, but he's growing up in a non-evil home, but he's still evil. It really does open the door to some other bad shit, and that's what it seemed like.
Is it like people are saying that it was cursed, or that like it's because of more theological reasons of like the devil's mad or like God is mad? What are some prominent theories other than just really bad coincidences? Like if we're gonna go the supernatural angle, what are some of the theories, the leading theories right now?
The consensus is very much that it was a cursed shooting. That everything about it was just went wrong in a way that once is unfortunate, twice is a coincidence, three times is a pattern. And this was 10 or 15 things that kind of all went wrong. So
it's a regular curse, Ruby, not a theological curse.
Because I feel like things went wrong a lot back then. You get like a stunt person would die just because things were not as regulated, less safety protocols. Everyone was really scrappy. The material wasn't as great. Planes were getting struck by lightning back then. Planes were crashing a lot more.
Get struck by lightning now. The planes that were hit by lightning, they
don't crash anymore.
Did not crash, I don't think.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, now it's fine if we get struck by lightning, but like I know there was a time when that was like deadly.
But a charter plane with a bird strike, and then that stuff like that happens today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, for me, it's like it feels like a lot of productions have mishaps, unfortunately. But this is like you said, like it's like one too many.
I was gonna say it's not coincidences. There's a lot.
Yeah, and then for it to be also a horror movie, like if it was like a rom-com, that's different. But it's a horror movie, but with a subject that is very polarizing and very terrifying for a lot of people. I'm just like,
about a little boy who comes out of nowhere and kind of causes mishaps to happen. That everyone's like, well, this happened, that happened. Somebody hung themselves, but very few characters believe that there's intent behind it, that it is a pattern. And it's not for nothing, the little boy that plays Damien, except for one bit part, never acted again.
Oh, so really?
I was going to ask. You guys, I'm getting so creeped out. Like my door just kind of rattled on its hinges by itself. And that usually only happens if we have the windows open, but we have no windows open. So why is there a breeze right now in my apartment? Where is it coming from? But that was really creepy because it just felt like someone was like trying to get into my room.
It was
a little boy.
It was a little boy. He never acted again. He was like, I'm out. He was good though. That little kid had range. Yeah. Screaming and crying and looking evil. He had range.
I think looking evil is easy for most kids because kids are scary.
Yes, kids are really creepy.
Sorry, we have Children of the Corn.
He was in one more like a TV movie and then like a bit part in the Omen remake in 2006 as tabloid reporter number 3. So, a cameo pretty much.
So his career was cursed. Poor guy.
I don't know why he decided to stop acting. Sometimes kids just are like, no, I'm done with that.
Maybe he had nightmares. I know that with The Shining, apparently with the little kid, they didn't even tell the kid what kind of movie it was. Like he just thought he was just like, even the little like Tony, with like the little guy, the little finger guy. Yeah. Like even that, like he didn't know what any of that meant, and so for us, we're like, wow, this is all so creepy. But he was not told he was in a horror movie. He was just thought, I'm playing a kid with an imaginary friend, and creepy things happen. But
whereas it does. Okay, I'm gonna just say,
I wonder if the kid in the Omen was like, I'm never acting again because I'm terrified.
Yeah, so I think that it definitely sounds like it was cursed. but it also sounds like it was also cursed by lack of regulations. They should have probably told that kid, when you look at that man, a pole is gonna fall off the roof and it's gonna go diagonal into his head. And then they probably showed him the picture so that he can get in character.
Forgot about that scene. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
and he's just standing there.
It sounds
Yeah, he's
both
like in
merciful and necessary to kind of not really tell the kids what's going on in a hard R movie like this.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
told that kid. They were like, we need to get this kid
When you
into
get
evil.
he probably got traumatized and never acted again.
But they
I just
got
wanna
the
know,
best performance of his career. So
I want to know if it's cursed. Yeah, at least that's he went out with like an iconic role.
yeah.
But my thing is like, I'm like, if it's cursed, then who cursed it? An angry producer, perhaps?
The little boy.
No.
Or the one Rottweiler that nearly got the stunt person.
I think
it
it
was that one
an angry
producer
investor
that said the devil won't like being given so much attention.
Yeah. They got together with their own satanic nuns.
Whereas honestly, if I just want to put it out there, if I was a devil, I'd be like, make movies about me. Spread the word.
But I thought he doesn't
spread the bad word.
I thought the devil doesn't want to be known. Because you fear the devil more when he's
That's
more
weird, because
known.
I would think that the devil would be like a clout chaser.
No, because that's what we that's because of our popular interpretations of the devil have made him more. They made him more playful, and they've made him more just visible and more larger than life. But
why am I hearing creepy sounds right outside my bedroom door?
Well, I guess going back to the sequels, because the long game was to make everyone believe this is just a regular kid that happens to be charismatic and things just happen to go his way until he does become president or etc., whatever he is.
All three of the cats are now surrounding me. They have some noise that happened in the living room when I came in, and all three of the cats basically are surrounding me.
The Omen.
I think I'm about to get
one of them's gonna have a birthmark that says 666.
Gizmo, because she is definitely haunted by the spirit of a Damien type child.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have to apologize. It's not Christopher Walken. It's Sam Neill.
Oh, okay.
Even better.
Yeah. Because I feel like I would have known that Christopher Walken lore.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have known that. Yeah. But Sam Neill's pretty good.
So, Adam, thank you for sharing this creepy story.
Thank you.
As a reminder of our ratings, the most creepy... No. I never did this right, and I've been doing this for so long. The least creepy is I think I'll be able to sleep tonight. The medium creepy is some chills. And the most creepy is scared shitless. So who wants to go first? Will I go first because I'm talking? Or Ruby, do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. I want to say that it's between some chills and scared shitless. Because it is very scary. All this stuff happened to just one production. But if you tease out more details about each situation, and I get dinged for this when I tell my stories because I go in list mode too, and gave us atmospheric detail, then I would definitely be more scared shitless.
I would say some chills. I don't know why. I feel like I think what's so creepy is like when you have no control, like something is coming for you and something is actively chasing you and you don't know what it is, but you know it's really bad and you have no control over it and no control to stop it, but you know it's coming for you. And that's the part that really creeped me out the most, is like you could just be like an animal stunt person, or you could just be like about to take a flight and you're part of this cursed production and you have no idea that it's gonna kill you. But I guess maybe I'm not as freaked out because none of the principal actors died. Like I think if Gregory Peck, if this was like how we found out that he died, or like something else, but it just seems like there were more warnings, which is probably why I'm not scared shitless, is because it seemed like, although some people did die, and that is horrible of me to say, not enough people died, but it seems like a lot of it was like warnings, you know?
Yeah, it was warnings.
And it feels like everyone else was wearing plot armor. Because you know how like if you're watching a horror movie and then the main character just gets
armor? Spared, yeah.
And like or the core group of people, so it seems like the core group of people were spared.
The core actors, except for Little Boy's career.
Except for Little Boy's career, that was definitely killed.
Yeah.
Or he killed it himself.
And
Yeah.
Gregory Peck's son.
Aww.
Oh, yeah.
That's so sad. That was before production. I can't believe he didn't take more time.
Maybe he needed that distraction.
Yeah.
Some
I
people
think
need to
maybe.
just throw themselves into
Yeah.
work. Yeah, I'm gonna always remember him from Roman Holiday.
Yeah.
And he
so
was
handsome in it.
apparently semi-retired, so it was kind of surprising. And then he came out to do this, and it really gave the production, the legitimacy they needed to get more funding to hire everyone else, all of that.
Yeah. And it's a solid movie.
Mhm.
It still holds up.
But I'm like, you're Atticus Finch. What are you doing in a horror movie? And then I watched the movie. I'm like, wow, that was okay.
Yeah.
That was great. And that was something. I mean, so maybe he really just saw the potential.
Yeah. And he did really good job in it. I mean, all horror movies are a what if. What if there was a haunted videotape? What if there's a haunted doll? What if there was a little Antichrist
A
boy?
murder doll.
There was a murder doll. Yeah.
Mhm.
Horror movies are just literally we're just sitting there in the dark going, what is? So, but cool. Thanks, Adam, for your wonderful
Yeah, you're
story.
welcome. Thanks for having me again.
Thank you.
And a message for our listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in again. We are so grateful for your downloads and your support. And if you ever want to reach out to us, you can drop us a note at podcomeplayWithUs@gmail.com. And definitely don't forget to rate and review wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you.